From all of us
at Olympus UK. Thank you
for sticking with us
over the last few months
as we've got to grips with technology.
This is my first one that I've done, so please bear with me if it goes wrong.
Hopefully you can all see me okay. Used all our available space.
And stayed up late at night. Got soaked more than once.
And ask our friends and family to help.
We've run live workshops with Olympus photographers.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to my little studio.
Good evening, everyone.
Visited our friends around the UK.
Hello, how do you do? My name is Garrett Bradford.
Hello, I'm David Tippling and welcome to my garden.
And got creative ourselves.
We've answered technical questions.
Ask some questions throughout this and I'll be kind of answering them as we go along.
Answer some of your technical questions.
Answer as many questions as you can.
To help you get the most out of your camera.
Olympus did this sort of product.
+3 on the body, not on the flash.
EPL8 and...
We've got the time, we've got temperature.
And we've loved connecting with you.
And building an even stronger community.
And we're not going anywhere anytime soon.
So once again, from all of the Olympus UK family,
thank you.
Anytime soon.
For the next one, back it out.
At home, we'd love to see what you're getting a new EM1 Mark III, which is spending a lot of time outdoors. Thanks for coming here.
Good afternoon. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Cambridge Photography Week, day number 3. There's some fantastic people that have been on before me. My name's David, and I am with Olympus. I'll come to talk to you today about some of the Olympus macro stuff, just to kind of give you a little bit more content during Cambridge Photography Week. There's been some amazing people talking on here already, so thank you for them, and hopefully I'll be able to keep up with them. And obviously, I think you've just seen Owen, who was probably talking a little while ago. He was due to be on here over the lunchtime period, talking live about some of the deals and stuff. So, yeah, thanks for coming in and watching. If you don't know me, I'm David Smith. I'm a technical expert over at Olympus UK. And this is pretty much what we've been doing for the community, not only Olympus photographers, but also for every photographer that wants to sit and watch and listen to us since March. And it's been really good. It's been nice. It's evolved a little bit, which has been good. And we've all learned some new skills. And today I wanted to show you the Olympus Macro kit. So we've got some great stuff in the Olympus range. Obviously, all Olympus cameras are capable of taking macro photos, provided you put the right lenses on. And you can enhance them with different flashes and things like that. So we'll have a little look at those today. Give me a shout in the comments. Say hello. I love hellos in the comments. If anybody's seen our lives over on Olympus UK, I probably spend more time talking to people in the comments than I do actually telling you anything about the cameras. But I'm going to try and make it a little bit different today and try and focus on the cameras. Otherwise, I might get told off by Campkins. They're going to keep it real. No, they won't. They're a really nice bunch. They won't tell me off. Hello, Claire. Nice to see you. Wet and windy in Warrington. I think I'm not too far away from there actually originally. And let's see who else we've got just hovering around in the comments there. I'm in Campkins' Facebook page, playing around with all the settings. So whoever comes in next after me, I'm sorry, I played around with all the settings. It's all changed. I'm joking. The boss of Campkins is probably going mad right about now. Excuse me. Hi, Owen. I think Owen, is that Owen over in the back of the comments there saying hello? I'm not sure if it's Owen or Richard. Oh, no, it's Richard. There we go. I can see that it's Richard there. Hello, Richard. At Campkins. Thanks for saying hi. Hello, Darren. Darren's cool. And Denise from Cambridge as well. So I'm just up the road, really, from Cambridge, in my secret Olympus headquarters. Okay, so let's talk about the macro equipment. So in front of me, I've got a couple of things. I've got some cameras, I've got some lenses, and I want to give you a bit of a live demonstration as well. I'm going to be using today my EM1 Mark III, which is all wired up. It looks like it's on some sort of medical machine, but it's not. It's just wired up so that you can all see what I see on the back of the screen when I have a little look in just a moment. And it's got the amazing 60mm macro lens attached to it just here, as well as the phenomenal STF8 twin head macro flash. So I'm just going to try and get my face out of focus there and give you all a little look at this little setup just here, and give you a little look at the back of it as well, just so you can see what's going on in terms of controllers. So I'm going to do some stuff with the flash and without the flash today anyway, so you'll get to see a little bit about how it all works. But ultimately what I wanted to talk to you about is the fact that you can put on any Olympus body. So that's a Micro Four Thirds body. You can put on any Micro Four Thirds lenses, and we're really lucky in the Micro Four Thirds industry that we've got some great macro lenses. The 60mm 2.8 being one of them. Now, because obviously if you're not familiar with Micro Four Thirds, that is a 2x crop factor, so the 60mm becomes a 120mm, so that's a nice amount of focal length, good reach, particularly if you're taking pictures of insects and they're not very friendly. You don't want to get bitten or stung. This is a great lens to be using for that one. And it's also got a 1:1 limiter switch on the side, so you can actually lock it into 1:1 macro, so you can hit that true macro ratio, 1:1 ratio on the sensor. As I nearly dropped it then, this is the other lens that I'm going to show you as well, which is the 30mm macro. If I cover my face up there, we should be able to focus on this one. This is the 30mm macro f3.5, but this is a phenomenal little lens. No limiter switch on this one, but it does have a 1.25 times magnification, and it will focus 1 centimeter away from the lens, so very, very close, and I will show you an example of that as well. Richard is busy beavering away, putting the links in for all of the things that I'm talking about. So I'm keeping Richard nice and busy by saying it's an EM1 Mark III, and there's a 60mm macro, and there's a 30mm macro, and there's an STF8. And all of the links have magically appeared in the comments just there for you as well. Hello, Cliff from Bedford. Good to see you in here. Lawrence from Rugby. Thanks for joining. Excuse me. And Chrissy from Cambridge as well. Hi, hi. Hi as well. Thanks for popping in. Okay, so what has Olympus got in terms of macro? Well, phenomenal stuff, to be honest with you. Really, really cool macro features. Lots of enhancements to help you do your macro photography. Lots of things to help you focus. And of course, in a lot of the models now, built-in focus stacking features. So I'm going to try and do a little demo of that live today. We won't be able to see the intricacies of how to set that up because there's not really a tech session in that sense. But I will take the picture and then obviously show you what it would have been like if we didn't use focus stacking in camera, and what it does come out like once we've used focus stacking. So hopefully I'll be able to show you that as well. And on top of that, obviously, you've got the fantastic stabilization. So if you're walking around hand holding your macro lens, then you've got in-body stabilization across the range, now up to 6.5 stops in an EM1 Mark III. So that's a huge amount of stabilization when you're hand holding. Now, what I want to do real quickly is I am actually just going to give you a quick demonstration of that. Let me switch my camera on. And hi, Barry. Winky face. I like that. I love the emojis, by the way. If anybody wants to dump emojis into the comments and fill them up with emojis, I love them. Just pop them in there. Let me go over to my camera screen there. There we go. Now, what you'll see here is, let me slow the shutter speed down so that we get a live view of exactly what's going on, just so I can see what's going on. I've got a little flower here as well. Now, obviously, you'll see this is this is actually only a partially stabilized view from the OMD, because I'm just holding it from the bottom underneath the tripod plate with one hand. So you can see that's actually still quite shaky, but that's because we're not in I'm taking a photo mode yet. So it's partially stabilized by the sensor when you're not ready to take a picture. When you are ready to take a picture, you're going to half press the shutter button. Now you guys will see there straight away, you can see MF on the left hand side. So you'll see that I'm in manual focus. That's because I love to manual focus when I'm in macro, and I'll show you how to use some assistance for manual focus in just a second. Actually, let's get some lighting on there. There we go. I love technology. I just got a remote controlled LED lighting that's just, look at this, off, on, off, on. I'm going to teach it how to do clap on, clap off as well, just so that it looks even cooler. Barry's avatar is amazing, popping out there. Hi, Barry, brilliant stuff. I've got Sharpie from Durham. Hello, Alan. Nice to see you. Okay, so as you can see, hand holding this, it is still a little bit NYPD blue camera work. But when I go to half press the shutter, regardless of the fact if I'm in autofocus or not, then half pressing the shutter will give me a stabilized view. So I'm going to do that now. You can watch how quickly that stabilizes. I'm just hand holding it, remember. There we go. That's now half pressed and stabilized my shot. And at a macro level, this is absolutely phenomenal. Let's see if we can get a little bit closer. Let me bring this in. This is 1:1 macro ratio, okay? Getting nice and close. Not pressing the button yet. Now I'm pressing that button. And that means I can move gently forward. I'm genuinely hand holding this, guys, not on a tripod of any nature. Hand holding that. Nice and quick. And my flash actually went off there. I don't want to show you that just yet. Let me take another picture. Half pushing the button as though I was autofocusing, but I'm not. I'm in manual focus. Let's bring that into there. And there we go. So took a nice shot. Handheld. Beautiful clarity that we can get inside of that flower. Now, each one of those little nodules in there is, I would say, 0.5 millimeter in diameter. And we've managed to handhold that at a macro level to get that. Now, yes, we are shooting up there at 250th of a second, so that's not too bad. Let's reduce this down to a 50th of a second, okay? And let's really start to push that. Obviously, the ISO is going to creep up, but we're not worried about that. This is a demonstration of how good the stabilization is and how much that can help your macro. So again, I'm not pressing that button yet. We've got that slight wobbly look, which you would expect. And then I'm going to half push that button. I immediately see a difference. Immediately, my stabilization is much better. So I can just creep forward a little bit, and that's just there. 50th of a second handheld. Still beautifully sharp at the point of focus. Okay, so huge factor in macro photography is the stabilization unit that's in these cameras. Now you've got stabilization across all of the Olympus range, which is really fantastic. Let me just come back to my camera so that you can see me. Hi again. Oops, hang on. I've not taught it the clap on, clap off yet, so it's on a remote. Off, clap on, clap off. There we go. We'll get there with that one. So you've got stabilization across a whole range of cameras, okay, and it varies depending on which model you go to. So if you're looking at something like an EM10 Mark IV, the current EM10 model, which is the kind of entry-level range, you're looking at 4.5 stops of stabilization, and then it gets stronger throughout the range. Now, 4.5 stops is massive. Okay, I remember when the EM1 was working at 4.5 stops in the original Mark 1 version. Then you move up to an EM5 Mark III, which, incidentally, at the moment, the EM5 Mark III comes with a free macro lens. It comes, if you buy an EM5 Mark III, you get a free 30mm macro lens gratis when bought with this. Is all yours. There we go. Look at that tiny little 30mm macro lens. Absolutely fantastic. And you'll see this perform in a little while as well. So your EM5 Mark III, that's now jumping at 5.5 stops. And you go to your EM1 series, 6.5 stops. So you're getting that stabilization getting higher and higher as you go along. So super useful for the macro shots. Now, what else is in there? What else is going to help you with your macro shots on these Olympus bodies? Well, you've got built-in focus peaking. Okay, focus peaking is an assistant that can kick in 2 ways. It can kick in when you're manually focusing the focus ring on your macro lens, and it will show you a little colored shimmer on the point of critical focus of your subject. Okay, Rich just popped the 30mm in the comments for you all to have a look at. So your focus peaking, you can twist the focus ring when in manual focus, and you'll see a shimmer move through the scene as you focus of color wherever the critical focus is. You can use it in that way, or you can use it in the way that I use it, which is where it's always on. So I assign focus peaking to a button, press it, and then it's always on. So that when I'm wobbling around handheld, I can see that sort of focus line run. So I want to show you that now. So if I'm going to go back to my camera, we'll go to this one here. So that's still showing my last view. Just popping on my non-clap on, clap off light. There we go. Let's have a little look at the live view just here. Okay. So let's move in. Let's just take it slightly out of 1:1 ratio so we can work at a slightly better distance around about there. Okay, so you can see it's out of focus. That's not a major problem at the moment. What I want to do is go into the menus here I'm going to real quickly go down to my button function, and I'm going to assign my record button here to be the peaking facility. Okay, so peaking is going to be switched on when I press the record button. I'm not using the record button right now. So if I press the record button once, right, it's active. You can't see anything yet. But if I start to move closer towards my subject, you will then start to see a flash of color appearing across the subject. Now I might have to change that because it might blend in with the flower. So I'm going to press my info button. Yes. And we're going to change it to white. We're going to bring it up higher as well so we can see a little bit of what's going on there. Now, interestingly, it doesn't show very well at that stage on there. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to bring my light closer and see if I can get that to kick in just on the edge of those petals just there for you. There we go. So we can see that focus peaking just kicking in on the edge of those petals. It is much, much stronger on the back of the camera. This kind of thing doesn't tend to go through the HDMI cable too well that we use to broadcast all of this. We have another option as well. We can change the image brightness adjust. If I switch that on there, we might see it a bit better. There we go. So it dims the image and shows us where the focusing is in a brighter flash just there on the petals. So let's get a bit closer in. I'm going to find the point where I want to be in focus, half push, take the shot again. Okay, so my focus peaking has helped me get again right in the center here of the flower, and again each one of those little nodules is kind of 0.5 millimeter in width across. So focus peaking is a really, really helpful tool in terms of creating a better view visually. It's a display option to help you see, and my eyes aren't getting any better as I get older, so every little assistant kind of helps with that as well. Now, obviously, feel free as we go through here, if you've got any questions that you felt that you wanted to ask, pop them in the comments, and I will do my very best to answer them. Hello to George. Hi, George. How are you doing? Thanks for joining us. And I'll try to say hello as we go along as well. So what I want to do next is I want to add some flashlights into this. So I'm actually going to turn my non-clap on, clap off lights off. I'm going to pop my camera just on a tripod just to free up my hands a little bit. And then I'm going to wind back my shutter speed so I can see what I'm doing. So it's all about being able to compose here really. I've got an option to switch live boost on actually. We could probably do that. That's a better option. We can go into the display options into D2 and switch live view boost on. This is going to give me there you go, a lit view of what's going on, regardless of my exposure triangle. Oh, excuse me. I think I'm getting one of those winter colds. I hope that's all it is anyway. Now you'll see that I'm shooting at 250th of a second. That's the maximum sync speed for a flash, and I've got the STF8 macro flash on here, the twin head flash, and I'm also shooting up there at f5.6. Now when I switch the flash on, the ISO is automatically brought down to 200 by the camera, okay, because it wants to use the best possible ISO. Hi Sam, thanks for coming in, Sam Rusu. Good to see you. Keep an eye out for Sam Rusu's videos. He's got some cool wildlife videos going out there at the moment. I think there's lots of stuff going on from Sam. Okay, so I'm up there at 250th of a second. That's the maximum sync speed in normal flash, not high speed flash, normal flash on this model. And I'm shooting at f5.6 because I really believe that f5.6 on this 60mm lens is the sharpest point. So we can go wide open at 2.8. We don't need to because we've got the flash. Getting down to f5.6 will reduce any diffraction or refraction if you go in the opposite way. Keep the sharpness in the image, okay? Now I'm in manual focus. And at this stage, I'm actually at a 1:2 ratio. So I'm not at full macro ratio. I go to full macro ratio by flicking the lever on the side, and then I would move my subject until it comes into focus in this particular point because I'm in manual focus. Now then, I want a bit of color. There you go, we want a bit of color and a bit of the inner part of the flower as well. There we go. Now at 1:1 ratio on the 60mm macro, you're looking at approximately 9 centimeters of focusing distance from the front element, and that's 19 centimeters from the focal plane. Okay, but I tend to measure it from the front element just because it's easier when I'm out and about to guesstimate that. So 9 centimeters is your closest focus point. From there, you can focus as you wish, anywhere off towards infinity at the back there. And I'm going to show you how that works for focus stacking in just a second. So we're going to try and take a shot around about midway through this so we kind of get a nice view of that. Now the flash is on, and the flash can be used in manual power. I can achieve manual power through that. Or I can set it to TTL, which is through the lens. For those of you that know, and those of you that don't know, it's auto flash. The camera and the flash are going to work together and figure out how much power is needed. Okay, so I've just left it in TTL. And in the flash menu for TTL, it's just the option up here in flash mode in the super control panel. You want fill in, nice and easy. I'm also going to be using an RMCB2 remote cable. Let's see if Richard can find that one in the depths of the Campkins website. RMCB2 remote cable, just plugging it in now so I don't have to touch the camera too much. And half pushing that remote again would stabilize it if I was hand holding it, but I'm obviously not. And before I take the flash, I'm just going to have a quick look at the questions in here. Darren's put in a question. Does the peaking depth of field change with the F number? I.e. if it's 2.8, will the focus peaking be narrow? And if it's F22, will it be a broad band? No, it doesn't, Darren. So the peaking is not a representation of how much depth of field you have. However, that's an amazing question. Thank you very much. What you want to look at, actually, Sam's just replied to Darren there saying the peaking gets bigger with the distance too. It actually doesn't. It's not relative to depth of field, Sam, sadly. The peaking is only going to be relative to, if I can switch it on there now. Actually, I'm going to put it onto, I'm going to put the manual focus peaking on so it's attached to the focus ring rather than the movement, so that when I start to turn this, we'll see, we can see it ever so slightly just glimmering there. I wonder if that'll change if I just pop a light on there. You're very bright. Oh, there we go. We can just about see it. So even at f5.6, this depth of field isn't going to change. But if you press the info button, going from low, standard to high will change the width of the band. Okay. But again, it's not relative. Let's just put it into white again. It's not relative to your depth of field. Okay, so that's really, really important. Just switch that off. But that's not the end of the world. Even though that peaking is not relative to your depth of field, it doesn't get bigger as you adjust your f-stop and stop that down. But you do have a depth of field preview button on the front of the camera that you can press and then see a relative depth of field. Now, obviously, that's gone dark because let's put the light back on because there's not a great deal of light in there. If I press the depth of field button now, you can see the image changing slightly from the outer focus area in the center, and pressing the depth of field preview button will let me know roughly how much is going to be in focus. Now, if I was to stop that up to F11 and press it again, you see much more in focus as we press it on and off as well there. So that's a good way to use it if you've got enough light to do that. Let's get that back down to f5.6. And let's turn that off. Let me turn my focus ring, get back to where I want it to be, which is about over here. And then I'm going to take a shot with the flash. Okay, so 3, 2, 1. There we go. One shot with the flash. And remember, this is in TTL, so it's the camera and the flash working together to figure out what kind of image we get. Doesn't mean that we have to like it. Okay, so let's press playback and have a little look. Okay, so we've got some quite heavy shadow in there, so I'm going to adjust the flashlight a little bit so we get a little less shadow in there. But having a look at that, I would say it's a bit bright for my taste. Now, you can bring it down a little bit, even in TTL, by going back to the super control panel and heading over to the flash compensation, which works in exactly the same way as exposure compensation. And we can dial that down a bit, so I can take maybe a stop off and see what happens there. And that's just telling the flash, oh, I like what you're doing today, but can you just dial it back a little bit? Okay, so once we've done that, we can take another shot. There we go. And well, it's a bit too dark, so we can go back and have another little play as well. And obviously, you could be doing this in manual flash power, but just make it a bit easier. Let's just take it to a third under what it wanted it to be. Take a quick look. There we go. That's not too bad. And then having a look, because we've got that super nice light in there, we get that super high quality, okay, really high quality detail from super good light. That's the key. You've got good light, you get good quality. Now then, I'm just going to change the subject matter ever so slightly and show you how that flash, once you're using it in macro, can actually help you create a slightly different look. So one of the big things is people come to me and they see my images and they go, David, come on, tell me, do you always carry around a piece of black card or a black piece of paper to get a nice black background and isolate that subject from the background? And I go, no. All I do is I use the flash, the STF8 flash, in the correct way. I turn the flash off. I get my settings to where I want to be, 250th of a second, f5.6. I set my ISO at 200 now because the flash is off, it's not doing it automatically. I find my focus point. Let's find this. I've just changed this to a nice little feather. There we go. Oh, and we can actually see some peaking going on there now as well. Change that to a feather just there. Now, yes, it looks like there's a grey background in there, a black background in there anyway, and there is. But ultimately, what I'm trying to do now is take a completely underexposed shot. I'll take that just now, press playback. There's my completely underexposed shot, which means I have a blank background to work with. And I use the flash delicately, throwing it at things that are close up. So I'm just chucking a little bit of light on something that's very close up, and that's going to help me isolate that background because my flashlight is not going to reach the background, so it never gets lit. I'm going to do it again now. We're still in TTL. Quick flash. Look at the shot. And there we go. We've got a beautiful, beautiful lit image. Nice detail in the image just there. But a nice isolated background. Now, I'm just moving my microphone because I'm actually standing up at the moment. Because I just want to test a theory. Because the black background that you just saw that is existing in real life anyway is part of a background setup that I've got. I've just removed that background now. Let's move the microphone back down as I sit down, otherwise I'll be shouting at you all. And there we go. Now I've got a white background. Okay, so really, really importantly, I'm just going to switch my main video light off. Looks a bit blue now. Don't worry about that. But I have got a white background in real life. Now, I might not get a completely black background here, but we'll have a look. I'll turn the flash off again, take another shot, have a look. Yes, I've got a nice black background, which means that even with that white background, by using the flash up close and using my exposure settings correctly, it might be a little bit grey. There we go. It's a bit grey. But I've isolated that subject background, again, really, really easily by using that STF8 flash because it's a small flash designed to be used very, very close up. Okay? Now I just want to enhance that ever so slightly. I'm going to bring that feather very close. And I'm going to switch the lens into 1:1 true macro ratio, and we're just going to get the edge. We're going to bring it in ever so slightly, and I'm going to get the very edge of it there. Okay, might just bring that focus in a tad. So we're working with very narrow depth of field here anyway, so we're not going to see much, but it's about how we can separate that background again. Very close up, nice dark background. And if we look at that depth of field, which is unbelievably narrow, there's superb detail just in that feather just there. And this is just showing off how good that 60mm macro lens is. All right. I'm just going to have a quick look at the comments in there. Benjamin says, you're confused with the live view representation of the image and the field of view preview. Shouldn't the live view at f11 show roughly the same in focus as the depth of your preview button? No, Benjamin, because sadly, well, not sadly, in a good way, let's bring this out and let's bring that out of focus. When you're looking through your live view, as opposed to, because you've got to remember that the Olympus cameras are mirrorless cameras, so there's no optical viewfinder in there. So looking through live view is the same as looking through the viewfinder, all the same view. And the live views are as though the lens aperture is wide open. So the live view that you see, you're actually seeing this at f2.8, okay? Even if you're at f22, the live view is still showing you f2.8, okay? Until you press that depth of field preview button, well, it's going to go very dark here. Let's bring on, clap off. There we go. You're bringing that depth of field preview button, and then that temporarily stops down the aperture in the lens to show you the true depth of field, okay? So release that, so it's f2.8, and press it again, f22. So we're seeing that kind of depth of field change by pressing that button, because live view is always showing you f2.8 worth of depth of field because it's always wide open. Hopefully that clarifies things a bit for you there, Benjamin. Sam, yes, you need this lens to film insects for sure. Absolutely, absolutely. Now I'm just going to take a shot here. I'll move things around a little bit. Actually, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to show you real quickly. I'm going to have to switch it off. I have to pull the plug on this in order to set up. Let me bring this back to me. Hi, Blue. And I'm going to turn this off. Okay. So it's a bit of a fiddle now. I have to take the cable out of the camera. I want to show you the focus stacking process. Okay. So I actually have to put some. I'm going to put this feather on an angle. In fact, actually, no. We've got a nice little. Got a nice little flower here. Not a flower. Yeah, it is a flower. Got this nice little flower here. So there we go. See if I can cover my face up and if it will focus. It won't focus because this OMD wants to find my face all the time, which is a great benefit of the OMDs. But what I'm going to do is in the camera, I'm actually switching on the bracketing modes. Okay, so I've already kind of preset this up. Focus bracketing. I'm going to switch focus stacking on. I'm going to take 10 shots at a focus differential of about 5. And then I'm going to pop this little subject matter onto my clip, my little helping hand that is going to help me take a picture. And what I'm going to do with focus stacking is focus stacking in camera is a really great feature. It's going to take 10 images and create a final JPEG of all those stacked images together, giving me this natural kind of depth of field. Excellent. Benjamin said I've made that clear. Good stuff. Yes, mirror out the way, kind of. That's right. So now I'm going to take 10 images automatically. Camera does it all automatically to create a much better depth of field, all in one image. Go to the right place. All in one image, without compromising on the aperture, so I don't have to step down to something like f11 in order to create better depth of field. I can shoot f5.6 across multiple shots and then stack it all together. Okay, right. So like I say, I'm going to do this and then I'll show you how it actually did it anyway. So let's go on and switch all this on. I'm going to use the flash as well. So very important with the flash, you do have to tell the camera to allow flash in silent mode, which is key. Very, very key. And you can't use TTL either. So you cannot use TTL flash for focus stacking. You have to program this manually. So what I tend to do is I put it into manual flash. I temporarily switch bracketing off. I take a shot to see whether or not the brightness is okay. It's a bit bright. Turn the power down a little bit. And I go, okay, that's fine. It's actually going to come out darker on this. I'm going to overexpose it on this side because it comes out darker through the broadcast software. It's really weird, you know, but I'm going to go with it anyway. I'm happy with the power that I'm doing. I run bracketing on, and this is going to kind of, you'll see these little flashes. You might see some of them, you might not see some of them, but this is kind of doing 10 shots. It's done it all. And then it's going to process it all together. At this stage, I can put my cable back into the camera and lean over here out of view. There we go. And I can bring this back in. Let's bring in a split screen. There we go. This will look better. Okay, so this is, let me get rid of some of that information. This is a stacked final image, okay? So let's have a little look. There's some fantastic detail in here, but we're getting focus all the way through that subject into the center. Is that a little bug in there as well? We might have caught something else. All the way through the center and then all the way through to the back as well. I'm just going to leave that there for a second. And then ultimately, if we go back and look at what we would have had, I'm going to go back to the point that I would have focused on, which would be about there. I would have got that bit in focus and then nothing at the back in focus. So focus stacking has created this greater depth of field by using a better f-stop. And the only sacrifice in camera is a slight crop. So if you watch now, we get a 7% crop as it jumps in. Oops. I get a 7% crop. That's my whole image in there. Okay, so Sam has asked, can you explain... Sorry, I'll get the Star Wars tea out. Can you explain focus differential in greater detail? I can, but not in this session. Ultimately, let me just move some things around a little bit on my screen. Ultimately, the differential, it goes from narrow to wide. The more images you take, the narrower the differential needs to be because you're taking thinner slices of the same amount of space. But we do lots of content, and there are some videos over on the YouTube, the Olympus UK YouTube page, that will show you and talk to you much more about that, Sam. What changes as you make a different choice is simply how much of is in focus in the final image, or whether or not you actually have blurred sections in between certain points of the image in the final bit. Sam's asking, with Olympus Flash, do you have to set up the recharge time? No, it's automatic on Olympus Flash. Whether it's focus stacking, focus bracketing, anything like that, it's automatic on Olympus Flash. Save the bug. I didn't even know there was a bug in there. It's tiny. I don't think. Let's have a little look. There is a bug in there, but I don't think he's living wherever he is. He's very tiny, and he's past his day. Bless him. There we go. But again, you can see there that nice around the edges, nice isolated background, if that's something that you're going for as well. Nothing better in my living in this bubble life that we have had this year than cold tea, because I always end up talking too much, and then my tea's all cold. Okay, let's have a look at the time quick. Okay, so we've just gone over half an hour. I've probably got another 10 minutes with you. I just want to show you the difference now between that and the 30mm macro lens. So I'm going to switch this off. I'll do a little bit of fiddling on the camera here. So I'm going to whip the flash off and whip the lens off at the same time. And then I can nice and easily make sure you switch the camera off when you're taking your lenses off, by the way, because you don't want any dust getting sucked into that. Your cameras are electrostatically charged. If it's an Olympus camera, the sensor is charged when switched on, and there's no mirror in the way to stop any dirt or debris going in there. Okay, so really important. So just popped on the 30mm there. I need to make sure I get this the right way around so that when I pop it on my camera, it's not going to slip off. And that's the way around. So I'm literally just going to pop that back onto my EM10. Line it up and not do any funny business. There we go, nice and easy. And then slide my flash back on. So now the difference with the 30mm is that you can get much closer. You can focus 1 millimeter. I wish maybe if you'd stacked all these extension tubes on top, you might get 1 millimeter away. 1 centimeter is the 30mm macro lens's closest focusing point. But ultimately, when you get 1 centimeter away, you're kind of blocking your own light, which is why the STF8 comes into its own. Okay, so let's change up. Let's have a slightly different subject in there. Let's see how this one goes. White flowers. My two worst favorite color flowers. Worst favorite? My two worst color flowers. Red and white. Red's very difficult to expose for correctly, and white can be a bit of a pain as well, but we're going to give it a go anyway. So let's go to the camera, and this is the 30mm now, so you will see. Let's put it into autofocus. This lens will just focus. It'll just, doesn't matter where you are, as long as you're within that centimeter range, it will just focus. So let me just adjust this so that we're looking at this nice flower here. And I've now got that flower 1 centimeter away. Oh, there we go. It's dark in there. That's the problem. Is it 1 centimeter? Oh no, I'm a bit too close there. That's probably half a centimeter away. Try that now. Might have to get some light in there. Clap on, clap off. There we go. Ah, excellent stuff. Let's see, I could probably get closer. Let me tilt that flower in. About there. Let me try that. Yes, happy with that. Okay, but as you can see there, if I hadn't switched on my clap on, clap off LED light there, it's all very, very dark. It's all very, very close. So the flash now is key. I'm going to put that back into TTL on the flash, nice and simple at the top. And a nice even, we're just going to try and give it a nice even spread with the flash. Now the flash heads can be tilted in and out as well. So you've got these diffusers on the front of the flash heads, and they can be tilted in and out, flexed around. So I'm going to tilt them right in. I'm just going to take a quick shot, okay? Nice and quick. Whoa, way too bright. There we go. So the problem we got there is that I forgot to put the camera back into TTL. We were running in full manual flash. We were never going to succeed with that, were we? Half a push, real quick. There we go. Let's try something else. TTL, much, much better. So this is a really nice, lovely soft light. Now, again, the broadcast software, for some reason, underexposes what you're seeing. So what I see on the back of the camera here is a little bit brighter than what you see. So I can adjust that in a second. But we've got that nice detail from the 30mm. Let's go into our flash compensation. Let's dial that up a bit. So we'll go Maybe 2/3 of a stop over. And let's see if I actually want to focus on these. Oops. I'm going to put my clap on, clap off back on there because we are so close to the flower here. It's unbelievable. And leave that there. And there we go. That's raised the brightness a little bit for you all at home now. I keep saying clap on, clap off. Yeah, that's a joke regarding an LED light that I've got here that's on a remote control, but I want it to be on clap on, clap off. So I feel like I have to say those words, even though it does absolutely nothing for my LED light. Poor humour is what it is, Lawrence, basically. Nothing educational in clap on, clap off. So here we go. So this is a really lovely, nice, soft light that we've got with this STF8. Again, we're working on that depth of field of f5.6. With the 30mm, you can use focus stacking again to create a greater depth of field as well. Darren said a focus peaking of blue. That is a great idea. I will put that forward. Blue would be a great focus peaking idea. Because obviously at the moment we're in white. Let's see if we can switch the focus peaking on. And if I change that and make this red, we might be able to see it here. We can kind of rock backwards and forwards. Oh, it's so frustrating that I can see the focus peaking on the back of the camera, but for some strange reason it does not show through our broadcast software. There we go. If you want to see it in real life, you're going to have to go and see some of the guys in Campkins and test it out in the shop there. Okay, let's just take another shot. For argument's sake, beautiful. So really, really lovely light, soft light from the STF8. Super close focusing on the 30mm. Now, if you don't want to be that close focusing, of course you can take it further away and you can get a bigger view of your subject. Let's do that. No, because it's TTL, it's going to adjust the light again so that we get the correct amount of light, isolating that background again really, really beautifully. The thing about the STF8 is that you can go very, very quickly with it. So if you wanted to, we can take a much more artistic view really nice and quickly. Let's adjust that focus point just there. Again, lovely shots, lovely detail. It's super quick to use the 30mm. And like I said, if you buy an EM5 Mark III right now, it comes free with it. Owens asked 30mm, 60mm, or 100mm. Now, I don't know what you're on about, sir. I only know about a 30mm and a 60mm. I think you can leave that there. My favourite's the 60mm by far. So for Lawrence, clap on, clap off, the LED light over there, it's on a remote. Not voice activated at all. It's me wishful thinking is what it is. Okay, so there you go. That's a really very, very brief kind of overview of what the Olympus Macro Kit is capable of. Any OMD body, 60mm macro, 30mm macro, STF8 flash. I even use the speed lights. So you've got things like the FL700, the FL900. I use these sometimes, a couple of them, versus inside a kind of a diffusion archway or a tent, depending on what kind of look I'm looking for. But either way, all of the macro features are super cool and they're really, really easy to use. Focus stacking is going to create you a focus stacked image in camera. Focus bracketing, which is available in the cameras as well, up to 999 images. That's where you'll take those images and you'll put them into some post-edit software to stack them as well if you want something else. So lots of different ways to do your macro stuff. I hope it's been useful. I've got to run because, as always, Olympus UK, we are doing constant one-to-ones with our customers, whether they're Olympus customers or potential Olympus customers. I believe that Richard put a link into our guru sessions, our one-to-one guru sessions, in the comments there, so you can go over it. Even if you're not an Olympus user, if you want to spend 45 minutes with us, you can do. That's what I'm going to be doing next. I've got a couple more one-to-ones this afternoon, and it's something that we do most days of the week. So you can head on over to that. Just have a quick look at the questions in there. Ben's asked, how do those diffusers deal with hotspots from the flash? Yeah, it depends on what you're shooting. If you're shooting something really reflective, then I tend to put a little bit of extra diffusion material in there. But for everyday stuff, 60% to 65% of the stuff, they handle it very, very well. But you can pop a bit of extra diffusion in there as well. They are very close to the flash because of the size of it, but they do cope quite well. So that's me. I'm going to head off and do some one-to-ones. If you want a one-to-one with me, brilliant stuff. If not, enjoy the rest of Cambridge Photography Week. There are loads of Olympus deals on. So if you're curious about what kit you've seen today and you want to find out what the deals are, then give Campkins a call. I know that Owen sat there by the bat phone, ready to pick up and ready to go. So give him a call. Sam's converting people to Olympus. We're going to get him on commission. If such a thing existed, Sam, I'd pop you on it. So give Owen a call. Enjoy the rest of Cambridge Photography Week. There's some brilliant people out there talking about some amazing things. Enjoy it. But, ultimately, stay safe until we're allowed back out again. And hopefully I'll see some of you in real life in the very near future. Take care, everyone. Bye for now.
Hi, how can I help? That's +3 on the body, not on the flash at all.
EPL 8, and it is basically what.
Hi, Catherine, can you hear me?
Hi.
How are you doing?
See the tiger over my shoulder?
Yeah.
I can't move out of the way. There you go.
I can see him.
That was taken last March.
You've got a huge amount of technical knowledge.
Right, so how can I help? And then obviously make sure that there's still some background there, that bill's not filling it all completely.
And I think we've got every camera body.
And you've done all that hard work. You want to be able to keep utilising it and future people to utilise it as well.
B for button.
Probably B for button, yes.
My camera here as well, so I can follow and make some notes.
One's down to 15 meters without case.
Okay. A little video set. I can put basically what you can see here is the camera setting.
Here at Olympus UK, we're doing everything we can to keep you inspired
and improve your skills. We're sharing all of our expertise,
Advice, tips and tricks to help you get the most
out of your Olympus camera.
And use this time creatively.
We all are looking forward
To getting back out there with our cameras.
But in the meantime, thank you for joining us online. Stay safe and stay home with us.